The door slammed so hard the hinges rattled. Kai Rivers stood frozen on the cracked concrete steps, staring at the peeling paint where Zara's face had been 3 seconds ago. Behind him, a black Mercedes idled at the curb, engine purring like it didn't belong in this neighborhood. Because it didn't. Neither did he. "Sir, we should go." Silas Jean leaned out the driver's window, scanning the 3rd Ward Street with the practiced eye of someone who'd seen too much. Kai didn't move. Couldn't move. Through the thin duplex walls, he could hear children laughing. 3 voices. 3 different pitches. His throat closed up. 48 hours, Mr. Rivers. The social worker's words echoed in his head. That's all the time you have. Sterling's small voice had cut through everything earlier that day. "Are you our daddy?" Kai finally turned away from the door. Got in the car. Didn't speak until they were 10 blocks away. "Find out everything," he said quietly. "Every bill. Every debt. Every threat. And Silas? Don't let her know." 3 weeks earlier, Kai's life had been perfect on paper. 28 years old. Heir to Riverline Logistics, one of the most powerful Korean shipping empires on the West Coast. His grandmother soon, he had built it from nothing in 1983, starting with a single warehouse and a dream that America owed her family more than it had taken. Now they moved Samsung chips and luxury cars across 3 continents. His engagement to Unichoi was scheduled to cement 2 dynasties into one unstoppable force. The wedding was set for September. The guest list read like a Forbes article. That Sunday morning, Yuna had stood in his River Oaks estate, adjusting his tie with the efficiency of someone planning a corporate merger. "Your grandmother wants the wedding moved up. I've already contacted the planner." Kai had barely looked up from his phone. "Sure, whatever works." She'd paused, her hand still on his collar. Her voice dropped. "You know this doesn't have to be just business, right? We could actually try. Build something real." Kai had met her eyes then. Yuna was beautiful, elegant, sharp, perfectly constructed for the life his family demanded. But when he looked at her, he felt nothing. No spark, no gravity, just the weight of obligation pressing down on both of them. "It's not about trying, Yuna. It's about duty." She'd smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. Right. Duty. He believed that. Duty over everything. Right up until Discovery Park. Kai ran every Sunday to clear his head. The park was usually empty by late afternoon, which was exactly how he liked it. 3 miles in, he saw the triple stroller. Those things cost a fortune, but this one was held together with duct tape and hope. The woman pushing it had her back to him, box braids swinging in a high ponytail as she navigated the cracked sidewalk. Something about the way she moved made his feet stop before his brain caught up. Zara, she didn't stop, didn't even slow down. "Zara, thank you." This time she froze. Her shoulders went rigid beneath a faded Texans hoodie. She didn't turn around. "Keep walking, Kai." Her voice. God, he'd forgotten how her voice could cut right through him. He jogged closer, his heart doing things it had no business doing. "I didn't know you were in Houston." "When did you?" She spun around, and the rest of his sentence died in his throat. For years. It had been 4 years since Los Angeles, since he'd made the biggest mistake of his life. She was more beautiful now, somehow, but different. Her eyes had always been warm, full of mischief and light. Now they were guarded. Hard. Like she'd learned to build walls he could never climb. "Why would you?" Her voice was flat. "Dead." That's when Kai looked down at the stroller. 3 children, all around the same age, all staring up at him with varying degrees of curiosity. The little girl in the middle had Zara's smile. The bold boy on the left had his grandmother's stubborn chin, and the quiet one on the right, clutching a stuffed tiger with both hands, had Kai's exact dimples. His eyes, his face staring back at him from 3 years in the past. The girl pointed. "Mommy, who's that?" The outgoing boy grinned. "He has my nose." Kai's mouth went dry. His lungs forgot how to work. "Zara, don't." She cut him off, voice sharp as broken glass. "Just don't." She turned the stroller and started walking away, faster now. But Sterling, the bold one, twisted around in his seat and called out loud enough for half the park to hear, "Daddy." Kai stood there, frozen, as Zara disappeared around the bend. His phone was in his hand before he consciously decided to move. "Silas, I need you to find someone." "Who?" Silas had worked for Kai for 6 years. He knew when not to ask questions. But this was different. Zara and Ku. She's in Houston. Third Ward, probably. Kai's voice cracked. And she has children. Silence. Then how many? 3. Another pause, heavier this time. I'll call you back in an hour. 63 minutes later, Kai's tablet pinged in his penthouse office. He opened the encrypted file with shaking hands. Whiskey forgotten on the desk. Business name, Zara's Jollof and Soul. Food truck, Third Ward. 3 months behind on permit fees. Revenue barely covering costs. Health inspection scheduled. Children, Sterling and Kiru, Naia and Kiru, Jude and Kiru. Age, 3 years, 2 months. Birth date, February 14th, 2023. Kai did the math. 9 months. Exactly 9 months after he'd walked away from her in Los Angeles. After his grandmother had called him into her office and told him to end it. After he'd looked into Zara's eyes and said the cruelest thing he could think of because his grandmother had explained exactly what would happen to Zara if he didn't make her hate him. My family will never accept someone like you. This was a mistake. You were a mistake. He'd said it to save her. His grandmother had made it clear. Either Kai ended it cleanly or the family would end it for him. And when the Rivers family ended things, people got hurt. But looking at these files, at the photos of 3 children growing up without him, Kai realized he destroyed her anyway. Just slower. Just harder. The last document made his blood freeze. Case file from Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. Social worker, Camille Baptiste. Home visit scheduled for Thursday. Reason: anonymous tip regarding unstable housing and insufficient income to provide for 3 minor children. His phone buzzed. Silas. If she can't prove stability, they'll take the kids. You need to see this in person. If you're feeling this story, hit that subscribe button right now. Drop a comment and tell me, what would you do in Kai's position? Because what happens next is going to blow your mind. It took Silas 2 days to locate the exact address. Kai drove himself this time, leaving the Mercedes a block away. The food truck was parked on the street in front of a weathered duplex. Closed sign hanging crooked in the window. The paint was peeling. One tire looked dangerously low. This was what his choice had built. This was the life his cowardice had created. He knocked, heard small feet running inside, then Zara's sharp voice. Sterling, Naia, go play in your room. Now. When the door opened, her face cycled through 3 emotions in 2 seconds. Surprise, recognition, fury. How did you find me? Zara, I need to talk to you. I have nothing to say to you. She started to close the door. Are they mine? The question ripped out of him, raw and desperate. She laughed, but it was the most broken sound he'd ever heard. Does it matter? You made yourself pretty clear 4 years ago. Someone like you. A mistake. Those were your exact words, Kai. So why would it matter now? I know about the social worker. Every muscle in her body went rigid. Her eyes flashed with something dangerous. Of course you do. You people always know everything, don't you? That's what the powerful do. Dig into other people's lives, find their weaknesses, exploit them. That's not why I'm here. Then why are you here? Her voice rose. Why now? You had 4 years to care. For years to wonder if I was okay. If I needed help. But you didn't because I was just a distraction you needed to erase. I didn't know you were pregnant. Tears filled her eyes, but she blinked them back with fury. You didn't want to know. I called you Kai. 3 times. You blocked my number. The truth hit him like a fist to the gut. He had blocked her. His grandmother had stood over him while he did it. Clean breaks are necessary, she'd said. No loose ends. I want to help. I don't need your help. Zara, they could take your children. My children. She stepped forward, jabbing a finger into his chest. Not ours. Mine. I'm the one who was sick for 9 months. I'm the one who delivered them in a county hospital with no insurance and no family. I'm the one working 18-hour days to keep a roof over their heads. So don't you dare stand there and act like you have any claim to them. A black sedan pulled up to the curb. A woman in a gray pantsuit stepped out, clipboard in hand, official badge clipped to her belt. Zara's face went white. No, she's early. She wasn't supposed to come until Thursday. Ms. The woman approached with a professional smile that was all business. I'm Camille Baptiste from Child Protective Services. I apologize for the schedule change. I had an opening this afternoon. Her gaze shifted to Kai, assessing everything about him in 3 seconds. The expensive watch, the tailored clothes, the way he stood like someone who'd never been told no in his life. And you are. Zara shot Kai a look that could have burned cities. Don't you dare. Kai looked at the fear barely hidden beneath Zara's anger. At the children's toys visible through the doorway. At the life he'd abandoned. And he made a choice. I'm their father. The fury in Zara's eyes could have ended worlds. Ms. Baptiste's professional smile tightened. I see. Ms. We didn't mention the father was involved. He's not, Zara said flatly. He just showed up today, after 4 years. Mr. Rivers, Ms. Baptiste pulled out her phone, scrolling. Would you happen to be associated with Riverline Logistics? Kai's stomach dropped. I'm the heir. Ms. Baptiste's expression shifted from professional to concerned. I see. Ms. Nkiru, may I come inside? We need to have a conversation. Mr. Rivers, I'll need your contact information. Inside the duplex, Sterling, Naia, and Jude were playing with mismatched toys on a worn carpet. The furniture looked like garage sale pickings. The kitchen had dishes stacked in the sink. But everything was clean. The children were clean, healthy, clearly loved. Ms. Baptiste took notes while Sterling showed her his crayon drawings and Naia chattered about her favorite foods, her mother's jollof rice, and something called tekbaki that her mom was teaching her to make. Jude stayed quiet, watching everything with those intense eyes, clutching his tiger. When the children went back to playing, Ms. Baptiste got direct. Ms. Nkiru, I need to be honest with you. Your housing is month to month. Your income is inconsistent. You're behind on bills. And now I'm learning the father comes from a family with, she glanced at her phone, complicated business dealings. What does that mean? Zara's voice shook. Riverline Logistics has been investigated multiple times. Customs violations, money laundering allegations, ties to organized crime. Nothing proven, but the perception matters. My job is to ensure Sterling, Naia, and Jude are safe. Kai started to protest, but Ms. Baptiste held up a hand. I'm stating facts, Mr. Rivers, not making accusations. Right now, I have concerns about financial instability and potential exposure to criminal elements. She stood, smoothing her jacket. Ms. Nkiru, you have 2 weeks to demonstrate improved financial stability and secure permanent housing. Mr. Rivers, if you intend to be involved, I need documentation proving you've severed all ties to your family's business. 2 weeks. Zara's voice cracked. I'm sorry, but if you cannot meet these requirements, I'll recommend temporary placement while you stabilize your situation. After Ms. Baptiste left, Zara collapsed onto the worn couch. Sterling brought her his favorite crayon, trying to help. Naia patted her mother's arm. Jude just watched, silent and knowing. I can fix this, Kai said. Zara looked up, eyes red but dry. With what? Money? You think you can throw cash at this and make it disappear? I'll pay off your debts. Get you a better place. Cover the food truck fees. Stop. Her voice was ice. I don't want your guilt money. Every dollar is just another reminder that you chose power over us. That I wasn't worth fighting for. That's not what happened. Then what had happened, Kai? Because from where I'm standing, you walked away without looking back. His phone rang. Silas. He stepped outside. We have a problem, Silas said without preamble. Your grandmother knows. About the woman. About the children. She's calling an emergency family meeting tonight. Kai closed his eyes. How did she find out? The social worker's background check triggered alerts. Your name, the business, the allegations, it all connects back to the family. Sir, your grandmother is not happy. I don't care what she's threatening to cut you off entirely. And she's making calls. The kind of calls that make problems disappear. Kai's blood ran cold. What kind of problems? Anonymous tips to CPS tend to multiply when your grandmother gets involved. Housing violations. Health code issues. Immigration status questions. Zara's American. Born in Dallas. Your grandmother doesn't care about facts. She cares about control. And right now, those kids represent a massive liability to the family legacy. Kai hung up and went back inside. Zara was in the kitchen, washing dishes with mechanical precision. The kids were in their room, their laughter drifting through thin walls. "My grandmother knows," Kai said quietly. Zara's hands stilled in the soapy water. And she's going to make this worse. She's powerful, Zara. She has people, resources. She'll bury you in violations and investigations until CPS has no choice but to remove the kids. Zara set down the dish, gripping the counter. Her voice came out steady, but Kai saw her hands shaking. "Then I'll fight her." "You can't fight her. Nobody can. I don't care who she is." Zara spun around, and there were tears now, angry and desperate. "Those are my babies. I don't care if she's the Queen of Korea. I will fight until I have nothing left." "Okay, stiped closet. Then let me help. Really help. Not with money. With everything." "What?" She searched his face. "Why do you suddenly care?" "Because I've been a coward." The words came out raw. 4 years ago, my grandmother told me to end things with you or she'd destroy you. She showed me exactly what she'd do. Ruin your catering business, get your apartment lease terminated, blacklist you from every venue in LA. So I said the cruelest things I could think of to make you hate me. To make you leave before she could touch you. Zara stared at him. "You're saying you destroyed me to protect me?" "I'm saying I was 24 years old and terrified of my grandmother. I chose the coward's way out. And I've regretted it every single day since. You blocked my number." She stood over me while I did it. Zara turned back to the sink, bracing herself against the counter. "I was 2 months pregnant when you left. I was so scared. So alone. I called you crying, Kai. All 3 times. And you blocked me." "I know. Do you?" She whirled on him. "Do you know what it's like to give birth to triplets alone? To spend 3 days in labor with no one holding your hand? To bring 3 babies home to a studio apartment and wonder how you're going to feed them?" Kai couldn't speak. His throat had closed completely. "I learned to make jollof from YouTube videos," Zara continued, voice breaking. "Because I thought if I could combine Nigerian and Korean food, maybe I could give them something from both sides of who they are. I taught myself Hangul so I could teach them. Because even though you weren't there, they deserve to know that part of themselves." "Zara, I'm not finished." Tears streamed down her face now. "Jude doesn't talk much. Did you notice? He's on the spectrum. High functioning, but he needs routine. Structure. Therapy I can't afford. Sterling is brilliant, but he gets in trouble for being too confident, too loud. And Naia, her voice caught. Naia asks about her daddy every single night. She makes up stories about where you are, what you're doing, why you haven't come home yet." Kai felt something break inside his chest. "I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't fix this. I know, but I'm here now, and I'm not leaving. You say that now. But when your grandmother applies pressure, when she threatens your inheritance, your precious legacy, you'll fold, just like before." Before Kai could respond, the front door burst open. Silas stood there breathing hard. "Sir, we need to go. Now. What's wrong?" "Your grandmother sent people. They're coming here." "What people?" "The kind who make problems disappear." Silas glanced at Zara. "Ma'am, you need to pack essentials for you and the kids. Right now." Zara didn't move. "I'm not running." "You don't understand," Silas said urgently. "Mrs. Rivers doesn't make empty threats. If she wants you gone, then I'll go down fighting." A black SUV pulled up outside. Then another. 4 men in dark suits stepped out, moving with the practiced efficiency of people who'd done this before. Kai stepped in front of Zara. "Get the kids. Go out the back. I'm not leaving my home." "Zara, please." He turned to face her, and she saw something in his eyes she'd never seen before. "Fear. I will handle this. But I need you safe. I need them safe. Please." Something in his voice made her move. She ran to the kids' room. "Sterling, Naia, Jude, we're going on an adventure. Grab your backpacks. Now." The men were at the door. Kai opened it before they could knock. "Mr. Rivers." The lead man was polite, professional. "Your grandmother requests your presence. Immediately. Tell my grandmother I'll see her when I'm ready." "I don't think you understand, sir. This isn't a request." Behind Kai, he could hear Zara hustling the kids out the back door. Sterling was asking questions. Naia was scared. Jude was silent, clutching his tiger. "And I don't think you understand," Kai said quietly. "You're leaving. Now." The man smiled. It didn't reach his eyes. Your grandmother predicted you might be difficult. She asked me to remind you what happened to your father when he defied her. Kai went very still. My father died in a car accident. Did he? The man's smile widened. Faulty brakes are such a tragic thing. The implication hit Kai like a freight train. His father hadn't just defied his grandmother. He'd paid for it with his life. Get out, Kai said, voice deadly calm. We'll be watching, Mr. Rivers. Your grandmother always gets what she wants. Always. They left. Kai stood there, shaking with rage and fear, until Silas touched his arm. Sir, they're gone. We need to move. Kai found Zara and the kids 3 blocks away, hiding behind a laundromat. The children were crying, confused and scared. Zara held them close, trying to be brave when Kai could see she was terrified. I have a place, Kai said. Guest house on my estate. It's secure. She can't touch you there. Your estate? That's the first place she'll look. It's also the last place she'll try anything. Too many witnesses. Too much exposure. She operates in shadows, Zara, not spotlights. Zara looked at her children, then back at Kai. If I do this, if I trust you, and you betray us again, I won't. I swear on everything I am, I won't. She studied his face for a long moment, then nodded. The guest house was bigger than Zara's duplex. The kids ran through it, amazed, while Zara stood in the doorway, looking shell-shocked. This is temporary, she said firmly. Until I figure out something else. Whatever you need. Over the next week, something shifted. Kai started spending time with Sterling, Naia, and Jude. Real time. Sterling taught him to draw dinosaurs. Naia showed him how to make the perfect crayon rainbow. And Jude, quiet, watchful Jude, slowly started trusting him. One evening, Kai was reading to them before bed. Jude climbed into his lap without warning, tiger clutched tight, and just sat there. Trusting. Safe. Kai felt his heart crack open. Appa, Jude whispered. His first word to Kai. Daddy in Korean. Kai had to excuse himself. Went outside and cried in the dark like he hadn't cried since he was a child. But his grandmother wasn't done. 2 days later, Silas found surveillance photos slipped under Kai's door. Photos of Zara and the kids at the guest house. Photos of Kai playing with them. And a note in his grandmother's handwriting. Family meeting. Tonight. No negociable. Kai went alone. The Rivers estate was a fortress. Massive, cold, designed to intimidate. His grandmother sat in her study, surrounded by 3 generations of family legacy. Photos of his grandfather. His father. The business they'd built. Symbols of power earned in blood and sacrifice. Sit, she commanded in Korean. Kai sat across from her, the massive oak desk between them like a battlefield. You've embarrassed this family, she continued in Korean, her voice sharp and precise. 3 illegitimate children with some African woman who sells food from a truck. Do you understand what this does to our reputation? To the alliances I've spent 40 years building. Her name is Zara, and they're my children. His grandmother's teacup paused halfway to her lips. They're liabilities. Complications. Proof of your weakness. They're human beings. Your great-grandchildren. Don't be sentimental. It doesn't suit you. She set down the cup with controlled precision. I raised you better than this. I taught you that power requires sacrifice. That family means the family legacy, not whatever children you happen to create with someone unsuitable. Unsuitable. Kai's voice rose. She's brilliant. Strong. She survived 4 years on her own, raising triplets while you did what was expected of you, what your position demanded. And now you want to throw it all away for what? Domesticity? Love. She said the word like it was poison. Your grandfather and I never loved each other. We built an empire. That's what matters. Kai leaned forward. Is that why you kill my father? The room went deathly silent. For the first time, Kai saw something flicker in his grandmother's eyes. Not guilt, never guilt, but acknowledgement. Your father, she said slowly, was a dreamer. He wanted to take this family legitimate. Clean money, he said. Honest business. As if honesty feeds generations. As if morality builds dynasties. So you murdered him. I removed an obstacle. She stood, walking to the window that overlooked her gardens. He was under the FBI. Did you know that? Your own father was going to destroy everything I built. Everything your grandfather died building. I gave him a choice. Step down quietly or face consequences. He chose poorly. Faulty brakes. A tragique accident. She turned to face him. I cried at his funeral, you know. I did love him in my way. But love doesn't protect what matters. Power does. Control does. Fear does. Kai felt sick. You're telling me this because you want me to be afraid. I'm telling you this because you need to understand what I'm capable of. What I've always been capable of. She walked back to her desk. Those children represent everything your father wanted. A way out. A different life. A clean break from our world. I couldn't allow it then. I certainly won't allow it now. You can't stop me. Can I? She smiled, and it was terrifying. One phone call, and Child Protective Services receives detailed reports of drug use in the home. Another call on Zara's food truck fails every health inspection for the next decade. I have judges, police chiefs, social workers on my payroll. I have power you can't even comprehend. Then why haven't you done it already? The question seemed to surprise her. She tilted her head, studying him like he was a chess piece that had moved unexpectedly. Because, she said finally, I wanted to give you a chance. One chance to do the right thing. To put family legacy above sentiment. They are my family. No. Her voice went cold as winter. They are leverage. And if you don't end this voluntarily, I will end it for you. The children will be placed in excellent foster homes. Separately, of course, triplets are hard to place together. Zara will find herself deported on immigration technicalities. She's American, or arrested for fraud, or simply disappeared. These things happen in our world, Kai. You know they do. She sat back down, folding her hands on the desk. You have a choice. Your inheritance, your position, your future wife, everything I've built for you. Or 3 children and a woman who will hate you when my people are through with her. Choose. Kai stood. His legs felt weak, but his voice came out steady. I choose them. Then you're a fool. Maybe. But I'm a fool who can finally look at himself in the mirror. You think this is brave? His grandmother laughed, harsh and bitter. This is suicide. I have built this family on strategy, ruthlessness, and absolute control. You walk out that door, and you walk out alone. No money. No protection. No name. I'll make sure of that. I don't need your name. You need my protection. You think Zara's problems are bad now? Wait until the people I've kept at bay come calling. Competitors. Enemies. Everyone I've held back with the threat of River's retaliation. They'll descend on her like wolves. Then I'll protect her. With what? His grandmother's voice dripped contempt. Good intentions? Love? You've never worked a real day in your life. Never struggled. Never survived without my money, my connections, my power behind you. You'll fail. And when you do, those children will suffer for it. Kai walked to the door, then stopped. Looked back at the woman who'd raised him after his father died. Who'd taught him to be strong. Who'd turned him into someone he hated. You're right, he said quietly. I've never struggled. Never had to fight for anything. But that ends today. And how many? I hope you live long enough to see me prove you wrong. To see Sterling, Naia, and Jude grow up happy and loved and free from everything you represent. You won't make it 6 months. Then I'll die trying. Which is more than I can say about the life you planned for me. He walked out. Behind him, he heard his grandmother make a phone call. It's time. Make the call to Child Protective Services. Every violation you can manufacture. And find me everything on Zara and Kiru. Everything. I want her destroyed by morning. But Kai was already 3 steps ahead. Kai drove back to the estate, his mind racing. Silas met him at the gate. Sir, Ms. Baptiste called. Emergency home, visit tomorrow morning. Someone filed additional complaints, housing violations, unsafe environment, exposure to criminal activity. My grandmother. Undoubtedly. Kai pulled out his phone. Called his lawyer. I need full legal separation from Riverline Logistics. Every board position resigned. Every stock transferred. I want 0 connection to the family business by tomorrow morning. Sir, that's your entire inheritance. I know what it is. Do it. Next call. Federal prosecutor's family have been bribing for years. This is Kai Rivers. I'm ready to cooperate. Everything my family has done. Every illegal deal. Every bribe. I'll testify to all of it. In exchange, I need immunity. And I need my family's power over me ended. By sunrise, it was done. Kai had burned every bridge, signed away every dollar, severed every tie. His grandmother called 17 times. He didn't answer. Ms. Baptiste arrived at 9. Kai met her at the door with a file folder 2 inches thick. Legal documentation of complete separation from Riverline Logistics. Federal immunity agreement. Clean background check. Character references. Financial statements showing I can support the children independently. Ms. Baptiste reviewed everything carefully. Looked up at him. Mr. Rivers, this is unprecedented. You've given up everything. Not everything. Everything that doesn't matter. She smiled for the first time. I'll need to review this with my supervisor. But off the record, this is exactly what I needed to close the case favorably. After she left, Zara found Kai sitting on the porch steps, staring at nothing. You really did it, she said quietly. I told you I would. You gave up everything. No. He looked at her. I gave up things. Money. Power. None of that was real. This, he gestured toward the guest house, where the kids are playing. This is real. Zara sat down next to him. I'm still angry at you. You should be. But she took a breath. Maybe we could try. Slowly. See if you really mean all this. I'll wait as long as you need. Good. Because it's going to take a while. 3 days later, Ms. Baptiste called. The case is closed. Children will remain with Ms. Nkiru. Mr. Rivers is cleared for involvement. Congratulations. Zara cried. Kai held her while she did. And for the first time in 4 years, she let him. If this story moved you, smash that like button and drop a comment. Tell me, would you forgive Kai? Could Zara trust him again? Because what happens next will shock you. Months passed. Kai kept his word. Every single day, he showed up, not with money or grand gestures, but with presence, with time, with the kind of consistent love that slowly rebuilds trust brick by brick. He learned Jude's routines, exactly 7 minutes to wash hands, always the same blue towel, breakfast at exactly 7:15 or the whole day felt wrong. He helped Sterling channel his boundless confidence into leadership, teaching him Korean phrases and helping him start a business selling lemonade to the neighbors. He listened to Naia's endless stories about princesses and dragons and kingdoms where everyone was welcome, and he bought her sketchbooks and colored pencils and told her she could be anything. And slowly, imperceptibly, Zara's walls began to crack. It started with small things. She let him help with bath time. She accepted his offer to watch the kids while she did inventory. She laughed at his terrible jokes. And one night, when Jude had a meltdown because his routine was disrupted, she let Kai hold her while she cried from exhaustion. I'm so tired, she whispered into his shoulder. All the time. I'm just so tired. I know. No, you don't. You can't. You weren't here for the first 3 years. You don't know what it was like. Kai pulled back, meeting her eyes. You're right. I don't know. I can't ever understand what you went through. But I'm here now. And I will never stop trying to make up for the years I missed. Never. His grandmother tried to interfere twice more. The first time, a health inspector showed up at Zara's food truck with a list of violations that mysteriously appeared overnight. Kai's lawyer was there within the hour with documentation proving every violation had been planted. The inspector left. So did his job, courtesy of Kai's federal testimony about bribery and corruption. The second time was more personal. Zara received a letter claiming Sterling's paternity was in question, demanding a DNA test, threatening legal action. Kai took one look at the letterhead and made a phone call to the FBI agent he'd been cooperating with. The lawyer who sent it was disbarred within a week. After that, his grandmother stopped. Not because she'd forgiven him, but because Kai's testimony was destroying her empire piece by piece. The FBI had frozen assets, seized records, arrested key employees. The Rivers dynasty was crumbling, and the matriarch was too busy trying to save herself to worry about 3 children in a guest house. Eventually, she stopped calling. The family disowned him publicly, a statement in the Korean-American press about disappointing choices and severed ties. Kai read it once and threw it away. He didn't care. One evening, 6 months after everything changed, Zara found Kai in the kitchen teaching all 3 kids to make kimchi. Sterling was up to his elbows in cabbage, singing a Korean children's song wildly off-key. Naia was showing off her spicy dance, a chaotic combination of movements she'd invented. Jude was carefully measuring salt with intense focus, his tiger tucked safely in his pocket. The kitchen was a disaster. There was cabbage on the ceiling. Someone had spilled fish sauce on the floor. Sterling was wearing more paste than he was applying. And Kai, heir to a billion-dollar empire, raised in luxury and privilege, was covered in flour and gochujang and laughing harder than Zara had ever seen him laugh. She stood in the doorway, watching this scene of beautiful chaos, and felt something shift in her chest. Something that had been locked and buried for 4 years. Something that felt dangerously like hope. Kai. He looked up, flour on his cheek, kimchi juice on his expensive watch. The one thing he'd kept from his old life, and only because it was from his father. Yeah. Thank you, she said softly, for choosing us. His smile could have lit up the whole city. Best decision I ever made. That night, after the kids were asleep and the kitchen was mostly cleaned, they sat on the porch together. Really together for the first time. Not just occupying the same space, but connected. Close. I want to open a real restaurant, Zara said suddenly. The words came out in a rush, like she'd been holding them back. Korean-Nigerian fusion. Something permanent. Something the kids can be proud of when they grow up. Something that shows them both sides of who they are can exist in the same place. Kai turned to look at her, and she saw something in his eyes that made her breath catch. Pride. Admiration. Love. That's brilliant, he said. I have some savings. Not much, but I'll help. Not with money, he added quickly, seeing her face. With work. I'll wash dishes. Bus tables. Clean bathrooms. Whatever you need. I'm really good at cleaning bathrooms now, actually. Who knew? She laughed, and it startled both of them. It was the first real laugh he'd heard from her since Los Angeles. Since before everything broke. You? Washing dishes. I've been humbled recently. Multiple times, actually. Very thoroughly humbled. It's good for me. Builds character, or whatever. He grinned. Plus, I've discovered I'm actually terrible at most useful things. But I can chop vegetables with surprising efficiency. And I make excellent coffee. You make terrible coffee. Okay, yes, but I make it with love. That counts for something. They sat in comfortable silence, the Houston night warm around them. Somewhere down the street, someone was playing music. A dog barked. Normal life, carrying on like always. Kai, Zara said quietly. Ask me again. Ask you what? In 6 months. Ask me if I'll let you be a real part of this family. Not just the kids. All of us. Kai's heart stopped. He couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. And what will you say? I don't know yet, she admitted, meeting his eyes. But I think I might say yes. If you keep showing up. If you keep being this version of yourself. If you prove that this isn't just guilt or obligation, but actual choice. Every single day choice. I will, he said, and his voice was raw with emotion. I swear I will. She leaned her head on his shoulder, tentative, testing. He stayed perfectly still, afraid to move, afraid to break whatever fragile thing was building between them. Okay, she whispered. Then ask me. In 6 months. 6 months later, Zara's Jollof and Soul opened in Montrose. The restaurant was modest, 20 tables, an open kitchen so customers could watch the magic happen, walls painted by Naia in swirling patterns of red and gold and deep blue. Sterling's face was on the menu as their official taste tester. Jude had helped organize the entire inventory system because he found orders soothing and beautiful. They were packed from day one. Food critics came and raved. Customers lined up around the block. The fusion worked. Nigerian jollof spiced with Korean gochujang, perfectly balanced. Moi moi next to japchae. Suya spiced kalbi. Food that celebrated both cultures equally, that refused to choose sides, that said both is beautiful. And Kai worked the floor. Bus tables. Washed dishes. Learned every recipe by heart, so he could talk to customers about the food with real knowledge. He worked harder than he'd ever worked in his life, and he'd never been happier. One night, after closing, Zara found him in the kitchen doing the final cleaning. She walked over. And for the first time in almost 5 years, she kissed him. Really kissed him. Not a peck. Not friendly. But the kind of kiss that meant something. Everything. When she pulled back, her eyes were shining. Yes, she said simply. Yes, what? His heart was racing. To being a family. To trying. To seeing if we can build something real. Something that won't break this time. Kai pulled her close, burying his face in her hair, breathing in the smell of her shampoo and jollof spice and home. I won't break it again. I promise you. I promise them. I will spend every day proving I'm worth this chance. I know, she said. That's why I said yes. 3 months later, they were in the restaurant after hours. The dinner rush had been intense. A food blogger had written a glowing review, and suddenly everyone in Houston wanted to try this place where Korean and Nigerian food fell in love. The kids were with Silas, who'd become Uncle Silas, and was surprisingly good with children for someone who used to break kneecaps for a living. Zara was going over receipts at table 7, their lucky table, the one where everything good seemed to happen. Kai was supposed to be cleaning tables. Instead, he was standing in front of her, hands shaking, holding a small blue box. Before you say anything, he started, and his voice cracked. I know this is fast. I know we're still rebuilding. But I need you to know something. Kai, what are you? I need you to know that I will spend every single day for the rest of my life proving I'm worth your trust. The words came out a rush. You and Sterling and Naia and Jude are my family. My only family. The only one that matters. And I want to make it official. I want the world to know that I choose you. Every day. Forever. Not because I have to. Not because of duty or obligation. But because you're the best decision I ever made. He opened the box. Inside was a simple ring, a sapphire on a silver band. Not flashy. Not expensive. Just honest and real and beautiful. Zara stared at it, her eyes filling with tears. Where did you get this? I saved up. For my paychecks here. 3 months of dishwashing and table bussing. Turns out that buys a decent ring. He laughed, nervous. Silas helped me pick it out. He has surprisingly good taste for someone who, well, you know. You saved up, she repeated, like she couldn't quite believe it. Every dollar. Because I wanted it to mean something. Not River's family money. Not inheritance. Just me. Choosing you. Choosing us. She touched the ring with one finger, not taking it yet. Kai, what if I say I'm not ready? Then I'll ask again in 6 months. And 6 months after that. As many times as it takes. I'm not going anywhere, Zara. I learned that lesson. I'm not walking away ever again. Zara looked at this man who'd given up everything. Who'd walked away from billions to wash dishes in her restaurant. Who knew that Jude needed his tiger before bed, and Sterling got scared during thunderstorms, and Naia dreamed of art school someday. Who'd learned to make jollof rice from scratch, and could sing Korean lullabies, and had shown up every single day for 8 months straight without fail. Ask me again in 3 months, she said softly, and saw his face fall. Wait, let me finish. Not because I don't want to say yes. Not because I'm not sure. But because I want to be absolutely certain. For them. They've been through enough. If we do this, it has to be forever. No backing out. No cold feet. No running when things get hard. Understanding dawned on Kai's face. 3 months. I can do 3 months. She pulled him down and kissed him. Long and deep and full of promise. But Kai, when you ask again, the answer is going to be yes. I'm just making you wait because you made me wait 4 years, and turnabout is fair play. He laughed against her mouth. That's absolutely fair. And because I want to see you sweat a little. Also fair. She kissed him again. And because I love you, you absolute idiot, and I want to make sure you understand what you're signing up for. 3 kids. 1 with autism. A business that barely breaks even. A girlfriend with serious trust issues. No mansión. No empire. Just us. Just us sounds perfect, Kai whispered. Just us sounds like everything. They held each other in the empty restaurant, surrounded by the smell of spices and success and second chances. Outside, Houston traffic hummed. Inside, the future waited, uncertain but hopeful. Messy but real. Hard but worth it. 3 months later, Kai asked again. In a restaurant, after closing, with all 3 kids watching because Zara said they should be part of it. Sterling held the ring box with the seriousness of someone entrusted with precious cargo. Naia had made paper flowers and thrown them everywhere. Jude stood quietly beside Kai, his tiger in one hand and Kai's hand in the other. Zara, no, Kai said, and his voice only shook a little. Will you marry me? Will you let me be your husband and their father and part of this beautiful chaos you've built? Will you trust me with your heart, even though I broke it once? I swear I'll spend the rest of my life earning that trust. Every single day. Zara looked at her children, their children, watching with wide eyes and bigger hopes. She looked at this man who'd walked away from everything for them, who'd learned that love isn't about grand gestures, but about showing up, about doing dishes and packing lunches and remembering routines, about choosing family over power every time without hesitation. Yes, she said, and Sterling cheered and Naia threw more paper flowers and Jude smiled his quiet smile that meant the world was right. Yes, I'll marry you. Yes to all of it. Kai slipped the ring on her finger with shaking hands, and she pulled him close, and their children piled on top of them. And for the first time in 5 years, everything was exactly where it needed to be. The wedding was small, 2 months later. No empire, no dynasty, no guest list that read like a Forbes article. Just family, the one they'd built from heartbreak and hope and stubborn determination. Silas was best man. Ms. Baptiste came, crying through the whole ceremony. The restaurant staff came. Some of Zara's old friends from Dallas. Some of Kai's former colleagues who'd chosen his side when the family split. Sterling, Naia, and Jude were ring bearers. All three of them in matching outfits that Naia had insisted on decorating with fabric paint. They took their job very seriously. Jude didn't drop the rings even once, which everyone agreed was the real miracle of the day. When Kai and Zara said their vows, real ones they'd written themselves about second chances and choosing love and building something that would last, there wasn't a dry eye in the room. I promise, Kai said, voice thick with emotion, to choose you every single day, to show up even when it's hard, to be the father Sterling, Naia, and Jude deserve, to wash dishes in our restaurant until I'm 90, to love you with everything I am and everything I'm still becoming. I promise, Zara said, tears streaming down her face, to trust you with my heart even though it's scary, to believe in second chances, to build this life with you day by day, moment by moment, to love you not because you're perfect, but because you're perfectly willing to try. They kissed, and their children cheered, and somewhere in whatever comes after, Kai's father smiled, because his son had finally learned what he died trying to teach. That family isn't about power or legacy or control. It's about love, choice, sacrifice, the kind that makes you better, not bitter. Later, at the reception in their restaurant, because where else would they have it, Kai stood with Silas, watching Zara dance with all three kids at once, laughing and spinning and radiantly happy. You did good, sir, Silas said quietly. Your grandmother would hate this. Good, Kai replied. That means we did something right. Do you miss it? The money? The power? Kai watched Sterling try to dip his mother and nearly fall over. Watched Naia twirl until she was dizzy. Watched Jude sway gently to the music, content. Not even a little bit. Your father would be proud. Kai's throat closed up. You think? I know. He tried to get out too. Remember? He just didn't make it far enough. Silas clapped him on the shoulder. But you did. You got out. And you brought them with you. That's everything. That night, after the guests left and the kids were asleep at Silas's place, their wedding night gift was one night of peace. Kai and Zara sat on the restaurant floor, surrounded by discarded flowers and half-eaten cake, still in their wedding clothes, exhausted and happy. We did it, Zara said, leaning against him. We did it, Kai agreed. I'm terrified. Me too. What if we mess it up? Then we'll unmess it up. Together. He kissed the top of her head. That's what marriage is, right? Messing up and fixing it, and choosing each other anyway. I hope so, because I'm definitely going to mess up. Same. I'm a disaster at most things. You're really good at dishes, though. I'm exceptional at dishes. They sat in comfortable silence, watching the Houston night through the restaurant windows. Cars passed. Life continued. The world spun on, indifferent to their happiness. But they weren't indifferent. They'd fought for this. bled for it, lost everything else to gain it, and sitting there, exhausted and sticky with cake and perfectly content, Kai Rivers understood something his grandmother never had. Power isn't control. It's not money or influence or fear. Real power is choosing love when everything tells you to choose safety. It's walking away from empires to build families. It's washing dishes in a restaurant you co-own with the woman you love and calling it victory. His grandmother died 2 years later. Heart attack, sudden and final. She left everything to charity rather than let Kai inherit. He didn't go to the funeral. Sent flowers, though. White roses. A car that said only, "You were wrong." They made it. By then, the restaurant had expanded to 3 locations. Sterling was in gifted programs. Naia was selling her art at local galleries. Jude was thriving in a school that understood his needs. And Kai and Zara were expecting their 4th child. Not planned, slightly terrifying, absolutely perfect. If this story moved you, hit that subscribe button. Smash that like. Drop a comment telling me what you think. Because this is what real love looks like. Not perfect, not easy, but worth every sacrifice, every choice, every single day of showing up and doing the work. Kai Rivers lost everything his grandmother built. The money, the power, the empire that took 3 generations to create. He lost his name, his inheritance, his place in the dynasty. And he gained everything that actually mattered. A family, not inherited, not arranged, not controlled, but chosen, fought for, built from nothing with hands that learned to do dishes and hearts that learned to love without conditions. That's the story. That's the point. In the end, Kai didn't choose power. He chose love. He chose family. And that made all the difference. Every single day, that choice made all the difference. Remember this. The best love stories aren't the ones that start perfect. They're the ones that survive everything life throws at them and come out stronger. Messier, more real, but stronger. Always stronger. Hit that like button if this story touched you. Subscribe if you want more stories about people who chose love over everything else. Comment and tell me what you would have done. Would you have walked away from billions? Would you have forgiven Kai? Could Zara have trusted him again? These are real questions, real choices, and your answer says everything about who you are and who you want to be. Until next time, choose love, choose family, choose the hard thing that makes you better. Every single time. Peace.